welcome to our podcast Tech Talk, and thank you for taking out time on such a short notice. And I'll quickly move on to understand what is Recycly and how it is contributing to the ITAD industry. I know it was maybe started with a mission to manage all that tons of e-waste that of course we all are only producing. But yeah, please walk us through the journey.
Brilliant. Thanks, Pragya. Thanks for having me on the podcast. It actually started as a bespoke system that we created years ago, but that created a passion for solving the e-waste issue. So we decided to make it a system that we could sell out further. And the more we looked into e-waste, the more we realised that the massive damage it does. Aside from using up all these kind of precious metals, it's the damage it does to the environment, which is pretty shocking. And when we were doing our market research, we had the opportunity to visit a lot of ITADs and see how a lot of the efficiencies could be increased so that they could increase their throughput and do a lot more good. As ITADs are responsible, obviously, for reducing this e-waste. So indirectly, we feel that we can reduce that e-waste by quadrupling their efficiency. And the incentive for them, obviously, is they're more profitable and they remain compliant.
That's actually very rightly said. I am stuck on two things here. One, that yes, we don't really realize it unless we get into it. I think when we put conscious efforts to actually looking into it, that is when we realize, oh, the problem is that big. I was just reading something a few days ago that every year almost around 400 million laptops are manufactured. I'm not sure how correct that is, but yeah, I read it somewhere. So I was just thinking, what happens to the old ones? I'm like, every year, if you're producing that much laptops, so I'm sure something is happening with the old ones. And I think most of us know what is happening with the old ones. They are, I think, the drawers. I mean, we have one person is using two laptops, two iPhones, and whatnot. I think we're getting habitual of using 2 gadgets per person, which is wrong. The second thing that you just said, efficiency, that I also believe that the right ITAD can definitely help in the efficiency of the business. I mean, if you can elaborate that more for the audience, because I'm sure there are many people out there who are still, not very sure if they should be going with, an ITAD provider or not. So many people who take this as an expense than an investment. And I think efficiency is the right word that you said, which can maybe convince them for this.
But I think part of the issue is that without the right technology in place, it's difficult to be efficient and do the right thing. It's more tempting for ITADs in some cases to probably dispose of the laptops in not the best way. But if it can be a profitable endeavour, then it's a no-brainer. They might as well do that, of course, because they can remain compliant and be profitable and efficient and tick all the green boxes all at the same time. So that's where technologies like Recycly are absolutely necessary. It's impossible to do that with Excel spreadsheets. And the other thing is with technologies like Recycly setting best practice from working with so many different ITADs, this is encouraging new businesses to come into the ITAD sector, but also existing recycling businesses who don't have to pivot to. We've got most of the infrastructure there. They can then start taking on ITAD. It doesn't take much to kind of test out an ITAD function if you've already got recycling in place. So longer term, we will make Recycly support general recycling, and then ITAD will be part of that, because we'd really love general recycling to include ITAD, because e-waste is such a massive percentage of what goes into landfill.
That's actually very, very rightly said. This reminds me one more thing, that having said that, it is how it is, affecting the society, the environment, landfills. I think there's one more thing that it is, I would say, with the advancement of technologies, with more technology coming in, there is equal danger coming in for data. The more advanced technology, I think the more data breaches. I mean, I'm sure you'll relate to this, that back then when, I would say in 20th century, I mean, I don't think we can ever recall a big data breach from that era. But yeah, you talk about 21st century and I think we have it on our fingertips. So what is your input there? Like, how is Recycly helping their, the people in managing their data? Because that is important now.
Well, I think the tools themselves that audit hardware and erase the hard drives themselves, they're very good, because you can choose to a very high level of erasure. Obviously that takes longer, but the customer tends to fund that. So that itself isn't an issue. Actually destroying the hard drives themselves is fine. And there's always like an alternative, if it can't be erased, then it gets shredded, for example. The issue comes in making sure that they have all been erased. And again, that's where tools like Recycly have the chain of custody, the full traceability from the second we know that laptop exists all the way to the point where we resell that laptop, remarket it. We know everything that's happened, and we can ensure that it's definitely been erased responsibly. And obviously that certificate of destruction is critical, and that will actually show the level of erasure, and we can present it back to the customer, and we'll keep that as a historic record as well. So forevermore, we know that hard drive has been responsibly erased, and that data can never be taken back. So like I say, it's not the actual, I think it's the tracking of the laptops and other hardware that is sometimes an issue for ITADs in this particular respect.
Right. Well said. Actually, this also reminds me of a funny instance. So we recently attended, the marketing team here in India, B2B Exports, recently attended an event by SERI. It was here at New Delhi, and we attended it, and somebody asked a very interesting question that, okay, we thought just the formatting of the laptop manages the data. So people do think that, okay, you press the delete button, or maybe you format, you reset, and boom, no data. Now we are safe from data breaches. So it's very important for, I would say, industry leaders like you and many others to actually educate people that no, data security is actually more than just data formatting. And I'm glad that people are now understanding, and I would say that is the whole aim of this podcast, that we at B2B Exports we just want to share this awareness that, see, you have laptops, you will have more laptops with more technology coming in, but I think we need to manage them and not just think about it, but we need to manage it. That is what is more important, by maybe thinking inward, by maybe thinking what on personal levels and how on personal levels we can contribute. So we are also trying to just do that. We are trying to just help institutes, colleges, and other institutions in just managing their IT assets. And we just say, okay, we'll take care of the data of your compliant, and let's see how it goes.
That's great. It sounds like you're really, really increasing awareness there as well.
I think that's how we start. I mean, that's our stepping stone. That's the first step. And let's see, I mean, if we have, industry experts like you, if we have support from organizations like Recycly, and we did have some podcasts earlier also. So if we have the support of all these people, I'm sure people will definitely understand that, yes, this is something important. And if we want to stay on this earth, we have to until
just to digress temporarily, I don't know if you've seen the film WALL-E. It's about what would happen if we carry on like this, and all the trash that's left on Earth, and the fact we'd have to leave the planet, and it'd be very difficult to repopulate. It's kind of almost a bit of I know it's kind of light-hearted, and it's kind of for kids, but the underlying message is that we're messing it all up by just not respecting the Earth and just trashing everything, just dumping it in the ground, and we can't keep doing that forever.
Thanks for actually sharing that. I'm sure that will help in our marketing campaigns now. Definitely ask my team to watch it.
It's worth it. It's a great film.
Okay. Thank you. Anything that you have in mind that you want to know people, tell people about Recycly, or maybe about the industry, that is, very important.
One thing that we've realised is that it's very, very difficult to enforce best practice for ITADs, even in one country. Obviously, there's the same regulations and compliance that people adhere to. Even winning the bigger contracts, the compliance isn't that different. Maybe you need a bigger gate on the outside, or you need to be behind a secure wall when you destruct the data. but the regulations are the same, but still the processes they follow are very different. And that's what creates this issue with enforcing best practice across the industry so they can be efficient enough to process more of these things is really a tricky challenge. I mean, we are doing it, but it's very difficult. And then you start to go to another country and you look at, for example, how the US work, and they've got different regulations, and Europe's got different regulations, and there's not just one country in Europe, of course. So it is quite a big challenge.
That's true. In fact,
it's solvable. It's
Yeah.
solvable.
But it's
It's solvable. We can solve it.
solvable. Definitely, it's solvable. I'm sure now people have realized, and different governments are working on it. In fact, the Indian government is also working on it. They have come up with some rules and regulations, and I'm sure that So, but I think if this starts on an individual level, then maybe that will be the biggest motivation. That will be the biggest change if it starts on individual level, because of course the government is there. But even after saying this, I would say one thing, that people fail but systems don't. So
Yes, that's good. Well said. Very good.
there has to be a system, and I think which is why we have R2V3, certifications like R2V3. We have other compliances. So yes, let's hope that the system keeps on motivating us, and let's hope someday we are able to say that okay, people also don't fail and systems also don't fail. I just hope people are that much aware and conscious. So yeah, let's hope. But thank you so much, Norm, for taking your time and for telling us what Recycly is doing. And we'll just wish best for Recycly, and we'll just hope that industry leaders like you can keep helping us in motivating other people in spreading awareness. And yeah, let's hope we see some changes through this podcast.
Thank you, Pragya.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Great to meet you.
Okay, bye-bye.